All right, we're back. We're live.
Here we are.
Welcome to 2024, guys.
Yeah.
Woo.
Awesome.
We got the whole team is back together. We're at full strength to welcome in this new year. I don't think we had a chance to talk about it, Vince, Tyler, or Tim. We completed over 100 episodes.
Yeah, we did.
We blew right by it. Yeah.
100
That's
ain't
wild.
nothing. 100 ain't nothing. We're not even recognizing that it's 100. We're gonna do like 1,000.
Yeah.
A floppity jillion. Yeah.
So for those of you who are tuning in, watching, or maybe listening to it later, audio or via YouTube, thank you so much for taking some time and spending it with us and talking sports. Come back. Keep listening. We got some stuff in the pipeline. It's a new year, new same
me.
cast, but we're gonna have some new tricks up our sleeves as we develop this podcast. And now, New Year's, you're always coming out of the new year feeling all high of hopes. And I try not to do this. I don't put any I know Tim committed to this. I don't know if you still do this, Tim. I remember back in the day when me and Tim met and we were hanging out, working on movies and things like that, Tim one year swore off coffee. And anybody who knows Tim, it's like, what? Like, what did you do? And Tim did not have a cup of coffee for a year. You remember this, Tim?
I do. I remember. Yeah, it was a tough year, but I was like, "Damn it, I'm gonna do it."
I'm impressed. That speaks volumes to be able to hold off.
So I don't do New Year's resolutions,
Yeah.
but I do have a New Year's resolution for the podcast, and that's to really grow it, to invest in it, and to thank the listeners and the fans who are with us right now. Is be a part of the show, help us develop this. We have a kick doing it. We're going to do it regardless because we're friends, and it's a good opportunity to just BS and talk about our teams and have a good time and relax, right? Before the show, we were talking about mental health days, rest and recovery, and how important. One of our good friends did not take his own advice of rest and recovery, and he broke his leg. He broke his hip, So the importance of rest and recovery, So for us, this is rest and recovery. This is fun. It's something to look forward to every week. And we hope you guys look forward to it too. The listener, the people who are supporting this show. So come on back next week. We do this live every week. We've been doing Mondays. We're going to stick to Mondays until further notice, but there may be a night change because I may be back in school. I don't know. I'm figuring it out.
For now, it'll be Mondays. We'll let you know if that changes.
Yeah. All right, guys. It's been a couple of weeks off. We got a lot of sports to get through. So Vince, why don't you catch us up on some scores and
sounds
a lot of football
great.
stuff.
Yeah, that's we will do that in just a second. I'm gonna share my screen. And I'm catching a beat when I'm singing it, so that's cool.
While you're catching it, I want to say, Tim, shout out to the cover art for today. I don't know who instructed all that, but looks great, man. Looks great, buddy.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Good job, Tim.
Yeah, there we are. So here's our scores finally being shared. Okay. First off, I'm wearing this Freddie Mercury shirt because your boy's the champion, my friends. That's right. Our little fantasy football league, I won. Thanks in large part to the Ravens. I won, baby. I won. I can say it however the hell I want. The trophy stays
however
put.
I want to.
I want.
The trophy stays
want.
put. I got the plaque coming and everything already. Gonna, add my name again to the trophy. It's beautiful. But anyway, let's circle back to the scores. What's up?
Before we go to the scores, did I come in last between me and Sam, or did
Sam did.
I'm last. Yeah.
Sam was dead last. Yeah. So Sam is our Sacco. Congratulations. You'll be buying the movie tickets.
I'll be buying the drinks and the snacks.
That's
It sounds like I got off easier.
Well, no, I mean, I only really ever get the Like I already bring my own candy because I'm just gonna buy it from Target for $1.
You're
You know?
crazy. I would be ordering like $60 worth of snacks if I
And
win.
beer.
You guys are gonna be tortured when I win. When I win, you're gonna hate life.
Sam's gonna buy the pre-designed seats that like
Yeah.
have a
Come
button
with
that
with
you
a
can
meal.
call someone and they bring food and drinks to you.
You say garçon instead of server. Yeah, one of those things.
I'm gonna torture you guys.
All right. Okay,
Well, Vince,
so,
you're the champion and the
Congratulations.
commissioner. So
Mhm.
just he adjusts the scores.
Just
That's what I
kidding.
saw. Mid-season.
It wasn't. Come on.
Well,
Fuck you all.
pick the movie.
There's your 5 minutes. I just dropped an F-bomb. Fuck you all.
Pick the movie. Vince.
Okay.
You're
All
you're
right. So the
back-to-back
Browns.
champ.
Here we
Yep.
are. Thursday the 28th. The Browns beat the Jets 37-20. The Jets defense still gave me 13 points, so that was cool.
That game was so boring that Joe Flacco went to sleep.
Yeah, he did. He was legit asleep in the fourth quarter. He be nice to him. He's old. Okay, show some respect to your elders, I guess.
No Sleepy Joe references. Shut up, chat.
On Saturday, in a very controversial end there, the Cowboys ended up getting the W over the Lions 20-19. Just real quickly, it looked like the Lions reported eligible number 68 because he was talking to the ref, and then they said no, 70 reported eligible, and it's a whole clusterfuck,
No,
man.
what happened was 68 didn't have money in his hand like Jerry Jones had money to the referees.
He didn't report himself as eligible to be loved by the ref, is what happened. I don't know.
Hey man, commissioner makes money.
On a percentage scale, I'll start with you, Vince. Who do you think is wrong? Was it the Lions or the referee?
It looks like the referee is like, I would say 100% wrong. I think.
Right, but the big talk today is forgive me, the head coach of the Lions admitted
Dan
today.
Campbell.
Dan Campbell admitted, I think yesterday or maybe today, that they sent 3 linemen over there to try to be a little sneaky with the Cowboys. So he
admitted 2 over there, yeah.
Either way, they try to be sneaky about it, and that caused the referee to be confused. So
okay. All right. Well, okay. Well, then 95-5. How's that?
Okay. All right.
Well, hold on. When you check in, doesn't the referee announce that number so-and-so is announcing as an eligible receiver? So it didn't matter if you're tricking someone. The referee should have announced numbers. But he announced the wrong number, correct?
He did. No, correct.
Or did he not announce a number at all?
No, he announced the
70
number.
Is eligible, not 68.
And the Lions didn't correct the referee. They let the play continue.
Okay, so then, all right, 75-25. The ref still fucked up as far as I'm concerned. But
all right, what about you, Tyler? What's your percent?
Oh, I mean, knowing that, now that we just talked about this, this is information that has now just been presented to me. It's definitely a 50-50, only because the ref is trying to get this play call going. He's running backwards. They announced a number. He was like, I didn't hear you, in his brain, just saw 70. I was like, I'm picking 70, right? So, yes, it's on the fault of the ref, but it's also on the fault of the Lions. If you heard the referee say the wrong number,
I don't know that they did hear it.
That's
I think
what I'm saying,
they were probably. I don't know that they did hear the referee
Dallas
say the wrong
heard it.
number.
Dallas heard it because
it's a 50-50 at this point. If that is the information that is now being presented to me, I'm gonna call it 50-50.
If Dallas knew the correct eligible player that was going downfield, do you think that guy is running free? Like, he was wide open. I don't think the play is the same.
To be fair, I really hate Dallas, so I'm gonna side with the Lions as much as I possibly can.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I also hate that NFL refs are part-time refs. Can we get them full-time?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, we've banged this drum several times. I think it's time to move on to the rest of the
full-time refs.
Full-time refs. All right, so on Sunday, New Year's Eve, the Bills beat the Patriots 27-21. The Ravens ended up winning me the fantasy championship, and not just our league, but my family league as well, 56-19. Injuries forced me to play Zay Flowers and Isaiah Likely, and I already had Lamar in the family league. So that's how your boy won.
Do you
On.
do what? Do you I'm just curious. Because you're a 49ers fan.
Mhm.
Knowing that he had 5 touchdowns, do you concede the MVP to Lamar Jackson now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a done deal. It's a wrap. I don't care. I don't really care what happens on this coming week because they locked in the 1 seed in the AFC. The Niners have locked in the 1 seed in the NFC, and we'll talk about that.
No.
So
we locked in the 1 seed for you.
yeah. Well, I mean, I skipped the Eagles score because we were going to circle back to it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's fine. Keep going.
All right. Texans over the Titans 26-3. The Saints beat the Buccaneers 23-13.
You forgot the Jags.
Oh, I did skip that one. The Panthers fall to the Jaguars 26-0. Rams survive against the Giants 26-25. The Bears beat the Falcons 37-17. The Steelers over the Seahawks 30-23. I can totally read, guys. Broncos over the Chargers 16-9. Chiefs over the Bengals 25-17. Your Sunday night game was the Packers all over the Vikings 33-10. And that brings us to our teams. Okay.
I'll go first.
All right. So let me just say the scores. The Cardinals come from behind and win over the Eagles 35-31. You want to go first, Tyler? Go ahead, go first.
Cardinals come from behind and give it to the Eagles.
Look, I mean, I was upset, but am I shocked? No. That's exactly what happened in all the games outside the 49ers game, right? I mean, we were up by like a field goal, 2 field goals, right? I'm not really calling a behind the win game. I mean, that game was in the hands of anyone at that point. But the Dallas game, the Jets game, it's all been games where like we just can't seem to figure out the second half defense. The problem is that it wasn't even a first half or second half lockdown. We didn't figure out any defense. How many times, I'm going to ask you, Sam, because I don't know if you watched the game. How many times did the Cardinals punt the ball in that game?
Not once.
Not once. Not one time. Right?
The amount of times is Dewey Cox paid for drugs. Not
exactly.
Once.
Not once. So, am I shocked? No, not really. Am I bummed about it? Sure, of course. We were up 24-14 at the halftime. Like it was a game that we should have won. We didn't win. That's fine. But all I'm saying is that the win-loss aside, who cares? It doesn't really matter at this point. We're basically playing for a win and hoping that Dallas loses next week to secure whatever we have left. If we go to play the 5th seed, we play Tampa most likely. Doesn't really matter to me at this point. I think our team is probably a first-round exit at this point. And it's not because I don't think my team is talented. They are. I just think that we have coaching personnel that does not know how to use any single person on their personal staff, right? Like Hassan Reddick has led the Eagles in 10 sacks per 3 seasons, right? So last 3 seasons, 10 sacks, 10 sacks, 10 sacks. He has like way under that. I think he has like 4 sacks this season, right? He dropped back in the coverage last week more than he ever has being with the Eagles. That's not Hassan Reddick's job. Hassan Reddick's job is to come as a side blitz, whether it be right, left guard, mostly right, and get after the quarterback. Hasn't done, right? Our offensive coordination, you got a 2nd and 20. What do you call a QB sneak? You got a 1st and 20. What do you call a QB sneak? A 2nd and 20. What do you call a QB sneak? A 3rd and 20. We're going to call bubble screen. Like, it's the worst play calling I've ever seen. Ever.
There's literally a meme of some woman going, "What was that call?
Yeah, what the hell are you doing?" Yeah. Exactly, 100%. So this is Nick Sirianni's team. He says it's his playbook. Yet he won't put on the headphones and hold the piece of paper and call the play calls. Until he does that, I don't trust him as my head coach. because he's going to take the blame for his OC, but won't actually take over the reins for it. Dude, we've seen this for 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks now at this point. We're trying to figure out that next gear. This is us. We have a terrible offensive coordinator, Brian Johnson. We don't even know who our defensive coordinators because we fired them in the middle of 2 weeks ago. So Sean Desai and Matt Patricia figure it out, I guess, at this point. I don't know which one's the right one. But honestly, like if Sirianni doesn't want to take the play calls and this is his playbook, I don't trust him going forward. Like that's say if you this is an Eagles fans take or whatever you want to call it. But I just don't trust a guy who will not take ownership of his terrible offensive coordinator when it's his playbook to start calling through the plays. You've won 1 game out of 5 in the last 5 weeks. Do something. Make a change. Run the ball. Call a different play call. Maybe don't call a QB run on 1st and 20. You know what I mean? Like it's very frustrating to be an Eagles fan right now. And I do think we're a first round bye. Like a first round exit.
Okay.
Humble opinion.
Okay.
Damn. Yeah, I think
Lost faith a little bit
I think
there. Huh?
I think the
I haven't lost
problem-
faith in my team. I've lost faith in coaching.
The problems that we saw earlier in the year for the Eagles was they were winning a lot of these close games. They lost this game, a game that they probably would have won at the beginning of the year. They're now losing. So I don't know. It just looks like they're leaking oil kind of like all over the place. They just don't look like the units are playing well together. That secondary has been pretty bad all year. That's like, they just look like a bad defensive unit right now. The whole secondary does not look like what it did in the past. And they've kind of been shaky on defense the whole year. Then offensively, they just have not been the same identity as we saw last year. It just seems like the explosive plays, the consistency of those explosive plays aren't happening as often. And maybe that's because Jalen Hurts is injured, battling injuries. It just doesn't look the same. And maybe some of that's age. I know they got some veteran players, but they just don't look the same. Maybe that's coordinators. I don't know. You're tapped in more than I am, Tyler. But they
What's
just don't
sad?
look like the same team.
What's sad was that home game was our last home game, probably for the rest of the season, right? For the playoffs, all of it, right?
Yeah.
What's sad about it is that that's probably the last game that Brandon Graham, that Jason Kelsey, and not Peters. What's our other guy? Cox. That's probably the last game that they're ever gonna play the Eagles uniform. Whether they retire next year, move on, whatever. That's probably the last game, and that's how you end. That's upsetting. That's
Rough.
upsetting to the
That's
Eagles
rough,
fan
man.
base.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. I think we got to move on a little bit here.
Just
Sam,
one
you want
last
to go
question
next?
about the Eagles is if they go out in the first round, do you think they're firing their head coach or just big changes?
So I think it's okay. 2 things about that. The parody about that is great because Jalen Hurts' first playoff experience was losing to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks. So if we lose again to the Tampa Bay Bucks, I think there's just parody all around with that.
A little bit of symmetry, I guess.
Yeah. I think it depends on how you lose. If the team loses, 24-21, no. But if the team loses like 34-6, yeah. I think that seat gets real hot. I don't think they're gonna fire Sirianni. I think no matter what, he's not fired, right? I think the DC and OC gone, completely gone. There's no reason for them to be at the team next year. But if you lose that bad, I think your seat's real hot. And I think Harbaugh, if he wins that national championship, what else is he gonna do in college? I think phone calls start getting made real quick.
Interesting thought.
But there's some dominoes that need to fall.
I read something a couple of weeks ago that the general manager Howie Roseman might be looking for a new franchise, that he might be a little burnt out on Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's like Bob Myers at this point.
So I mean, if Howie Roseman's available, that would probably be one of the most sought after
Absolutely.
football general managers.
Absolutely.
He could get a huge bag, huge bag.
Denver will call him immediately. Fire theirs.
Yeah, Vince, we can move on.
All right, so let's go to your game next. The Colts beat the Raiders 23-20. Your slim playoff hopes are officially dashed. How are you feeling, Sam?
Yeah, like you said, Vince, they lost to the Colts. Their playoff hopes are over. The Raiders in this game, they had their chances to win. Unfortunately, the offense stalled quite a bit. Just could not get enough points on the board. Surprisingly, the defense played pretty well again. They allowed 23 points, but that's with an offense that, for the most part, was pretty anemic whole game until in the second half, they were able to get a little bit of momentum. Defensively, the whole year, it looks like you may have some guys. I'm actually feeling pretty. I know we're not making the playoffs, and for me, my doom and gloom was when they fired Josh McDaniels. It was a good thing, but for me, that kind of put the nail in the coffin as far as really truly making the playoffs. And even if they did, they probably would have been a early exit. So pretty much on this podcast, I've been saying what I would hope to see, and that's seeing a team that's play competent, play smart, play aggressive, play fast. You're
They
counted
cleaned
out.
up the penalties a lot more too.
They became the least penalized team in the league. Unfortunately, some costly penalties cost them in this game. So defensively throughout the year, they looked pretty damn good. It looks like you may have found a running mate for Max Crosby with Malcolm Kuntz. He looks like an edge guy that can just get after it. They diagnosed what he's good at. They got him playing really good. The linebacker unit, individually, no names pop out, but as a unit, they started to play really good. So Divine Diablo, Spillane, Luke Masterson,
Spillane is clutch.
they played really well together as a unit. So maybe there's some building blocks there. The first half of the season, Tyree Wilson was nowhere to be seen. The Raiders' first-round draft pick. Again, since the firing, they've moved him around defensively. And he's starting to show some flashes. You're starting to see some things show up on tape. He definitely needs to increase his strength and increase get better at what he's doing, to get more sacks, get more numbers. But we're finally starting to see him impact the game. We're seeing him in some plays, which is a positive sign. So jury's still all on him, but we'll see. The secondary, Nate Hobbs, Mick Robertson, Brandon Faison, who was a Raider. They let him go. He went to the Colts. He had a great year. He comes back. He's been hurt most of the year. But the defensive backs have been pretty good. They added Jack Jones, and he may have cost them this game with those penalties. But he's also helped you win a couple of games. And he looks like a guy you may want to bring back next year. You're seeing pieces throughout the defense that we never really had before. You got guys flying around, causing fumbles, getting interceptions. They're building good units. I can't even remember the last time we had a good defense. Offensively, I still believe you have the weapons. Unfortunately, the problem is the quarterback. Aiden O'Connell, I think, has played admirably. He's been pretty good in some games and not so good in other games. And I think he deserves to play in the league, right? He shows that he can be in the league and that he can get better. But I think in the modern NFL, you're look at what's going on in Houston. All of a sudden next year, Houston's going to be like, that might be a sexy pick, because of the quarterback. The 49ers, they had a lot of talent on this team, but now they have the quarterback who runs that offense. Look at not Jacksonville, Baltimore. Look at the quarterback. You got this dynamic quarterback. So you cannot, if you keep the Raiders roster as is for the most part, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Mike Mayer, those key offensive players and even defensive players, you cannot come back with the similar quarterback room as it is now. You need to go all in and get a quarterback, whether that's marketing your draft classes and getting the number one pick this year and seeing what you got with a number 1 pick and hope you get something like CJ Stroud, or you got to go and get a quarterback via trade. You're not going to be able to get a quarterback via free agency. So what quarterbacks are out there? But the one thing I do know is no matter what, no matter who the GM is, who the coach is, Antonio Pierce, another coach, you got to go all in and get a quarterback because this roster has talent to be competitive.
Question: Kirk Cousins.
That's what I was going to ask.
You know,
what do you think?
He's
supported a number 1 receiver.
Wait,
Justin Jefferson.
Before you answer this, okay? Currently, projected, the Raiders are 11th round. I'm sorry, 11th overall pick. So, 2 questions, because you and I brought this up too. Are you going for Kirk Cousins, or are you trading the farm to go up and get Marvin Harrison Jr.?
See, the thing is, if you keep Davante Adams, if you keep the roster intact, you're not moving up to go and get a wide receiver. You're moving up to the 1 spot to get the quarterback, probably from USC, and you're hoping Caleb Williams is that generational talent, because that means you got him for 5 years under contract. For the first 4 years, he's only going to be making $1.5 million for 4 years. And then the 5th year option is only going to be like 25, 26 million when the going rate of a superstar quarterback is over 40. So it's also a cap game. So if you move up, you're not getting a wide receiver. If you come back with Davante Adams, you're not getting
right.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Right, correct. Let's say you move on Davante and you trade him. Maybe you don't get the greatest quarterback, but you get a decent quarterback in return, right?
Send him to the Jets and you get Zach Wilson back.
No,
it
depends on the scenario. I think if you're able somehow to lure Kirk Cousins to the Raiders, which I like that idea on the contingency that it's Davante Adams and the offense is pretty much staying intact. Maybe you try to get Josh Jacobs to come back because he may very well has played his last game as a Raider. We don't know if he's going to be back next week due to his quad injury. So we may have seen the last of Josh Jacobs in a Raider uniform. How the Raiders handled this situation with Ziegler and McDaniels and Josh Jacobs. The Raiders shot themselves in the foot. They could have had him much cheaper this year and probably much cheaper next year because, as we know, you could have got the value for him much sooner, but they declined the 5th year option. So you lost a control of his contract a year early, and then it double cost you when you had to pay him the salary, the franchise tag. So they've made really bad decisions with money, and then you got to unload the Jimmy G deal. There's a lot of talk about trading for Justin Fields from the Bears. I'm not really into that trade because you're only going to have 1 year for him to prove it, and less than that to use the 5th year option. And his 5th year option is $22 million. And I think he's played better this year when he's been available. But my concern is he hasn't played a full season. He hasn't really shown you a whole lot with his arm. He's very dynamic. And what is it going to cost you? Because if it's the number 1, your 1st round draft pick, even if it's number 11, I'm not giving my 11 overall pick for Justin Fields. I'm not.
No.
I'd maybe talk to you at a 2, but I'm not doing a 1st round draft pick. So there's so many questions with this team. I think I'm in the camp of I would really like to keep Coach AP and Champ Kelly to see what they got. Because I do think you're a quality quarterback away from being a contender, especially if this defense is continuously getting better. I don't know what it looks like, so I'm not going to come out and say like they could be world beaters, but I think with Kirk Cousins and this offense coming back and maybe this defense staying this competitive, I think you're legit a playoff contender. I think a lot of these games that you lost, this game against the Colts, the game against the Bears, against the Lions.
Also, the Colts QB is not a terrible option too. If if you're just looking
Gardner
for
Minshew.
if you're looking
Because
for a
Anthony
discount
Richardson
quarterback,
is going to be back,
that's not a terrible
Yeah,
option either.
but he's not going to. Yeah,
That's
He-
not.
I mean, that's a lateral move. I think in the end,
I
slight
think if-
improvement, but you don't want a slight improvement. You need
exactly
significant
because you
improvement.
got it. You could just roll with Aiden O'Connell. The numbers are similar, and at least Aiden O'Connell's going to show that he can improve. Where Gardner Minshew, it's like that's kind of where he's at. So
we
if
we
you're-
know what he is at this
if you're
point.
going to roll the dice for a 1-year deal on a veteran quarterback, I would say, and I'm not like a big Kirk Cousins, like, oh my God, he's great. I'm just saying from the point of being a contender, luring more, he, like you said, he could feed a number one. You just got to get the Raiders back to relevancy. Just get into the playoffs a year, 2 years in a row. Like, we don't even have that. We need to get in.
Yeah, I think your division. I know we're up against it now. I think your division is going to be a lot more difficult next year than you maybe realize. I mean, obviously, the Chargers are going to get a new head coach, right? Who knows? They're the question mark, right? But the Broncos, he's going to get the staff and everything he wants going next year. This was kind of the I'm just going to play with the pieces that are dealt me right now. I'm going to figure it out. But next year, I'm going to do whatever I want to do as the head coach, right? That's why they brought him on. They gave him full authority to do whatever he wants. So I don't think your division is going to get much easier. In fact, I think it's probably going to get harder. You're probably going to have 3 and
Yeah, but
possibly
you
the
still-
Chargers.
You still can't just wave the white flag and say, let's wait.
No,
for these
not
teams
at
to
all.
suck.
Not at
Like,
all. But what I'm saying is that if you're trying to be competitive, you got to make big moves. Are the Raiders in a position to make a big move now? Or are they like a 2-3 team, 2-3 years down the road kind of team? And I think that's the question mark.
The thing is, if you wave the white flag, that means you're unloading everything. Devontae Adams can still get you a haul. Max Crosby would get you a hell of a haul. There is no way in hell this franchise can go to Max Crosby and say, we're going to tear it all down. We're going to bring in a new GM and head coach. We're going to tear it all down. And we would like to keep you. If you're Max Crosby, you'd be like, you know what? I love this place. I love the fans, but I got to get the fuck out of here. You know, like I could, if I'm Max Crosby and the franchise came to me and said that, I'm out. I'm sorry. I can't go through another rebuild. He doesn't miss games. He doesn't take plays off. I mean, he has one of the biggest motors in the NFL. It literally would take a act of God to prevent him from getting to the field. And you're going to put that guy through another rebuild. I think right now,
that's from all that cocaine.
The Raiders would have to go all in. And I think you have to go all in on a quarterback. I don't know what the right move is. Do you mortgage the future for multiple years and just go after Caleb Williams and get the number 1 overall pick and just hope you got lightning in a bottle? That's a lot to put on a young man coming into Las Vegas. But maybe with Coach Antonio Pierce and Champ Kelly, it seems like they run a pretty tight ship. Maybe you can prevent some of those scary thoughts from Jamarcus Russell 2.0 happening. Or do you make a trade and bring in a quarterback? The thing is, the lightning in a bottle quarterback, who's available? Who are you going to go out and get, even if you have draft picks? So to me, if it was me, if I can keep Devontae Adams and certain offensive players, I'm going all in and I'm getting a young quarterback because I got 4 years minimum on that contract to find out if he's the man or not. And then I have the 5th year option to control his cost. If he is, even if he only turns out to be, no insult to any player, but like a Geno Smith, right? Like, even if he turns out to be a Geno Smith, like right now, that's his peak. That $25 million is still cheaper than getting into a lateral move. To sign a guy like Geno Smith right now at 27, 26 years old is going to be 40 million because it's their prime years at quarterback. So even if he doesn't pan out as far as being that superstar, it's still going to be much cheaper to have him for that 5th year and just be a game manager.
Yeah,
because
I
look
agree.
at what we're paying. Look at what we're paying Jimmy Garoppolo to hold a clipboard right now.
Yeah. All right.
So-
So I think we got to move on here. Last one to talk about is my guys, the Niners, get the W in Washington over the Commanders 27-10. They clinched the #1 seed by virtue of the Eagles shitting the bed. And I'm living high and mighty right now. The Niners get to skip. They basically get 2 bye weeks at this point because week 18 doesn't matter. They're going to, if they do play the starters, you're only looking at a quarter. And it's just basically to make sure that Russ doesn't build up too much over the bye week, just make sure everybody stays at least a little bit mentally sharp. And you got George Kittle, CMC, Debo, and Brandon Ayuk all have over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. That's the first time you've had a tight end, wide receiver, and running back on the same team in the same season all go for over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. I mean, what else can I say? This is the game was a little bit tight going into half, but then we've seen it time and time again. Games that are tight going into the halftime, the Niners come out and just dominate the second half. And it sounds a little bit redundant because it kind of is, and I kind of love it. So I'm just for the sake of expediency. If you guys got any questions to ask or anything, like let's go through it. But I'm good. I'm feeling great. My guys get the break, and I don't have to sweat on Wild Card Weekend. This is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I have to sweat because unfortunately the Cowboys and the Eagles play at the same time at
Yeah.
125. So I don't have the luxury of knowing if I have to play starters or not, or starters are playing no matter what. So yeah. I mean, you're welcome, I guess.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Actually, it's really a thank you to the Cardinals.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, they beat the Cowboys and the Eagles.
That's
I mean,
true.
what the hell?
That's true.
They only got 4 wins on the season. Half of them are the top 2 teams in the NFC East.
You know what's funny? Okay, the dream team, right? The infamous Eagles dream team.
Oh yeah. The Vince Young named dream team. Yeah.
So everything went downhill for that team, right?
Pretty much
And-
immediately.
Right, but like when everything turned for the worst and like coaches got fired and the team was going to be broken and dissolved, right? The game that decided that was when we lost in Philadelphia to the Arizona Cardinals. So, fuck. I don't know what next season is going to be, but if it's anything like that one, we'll see. So,
Yeah.
I think that brings me to me. Yeah.
I mean, we already talked about the Eagles, but
No, I'm talking about. Oh no, Pick'ems. Unless you want to go over the Hall.
yeah. No, Pick'ems. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely Pick'ems.
So,
I'm just
I don't have a little my usual typical ESPN sheet this week because they don't know who's starting, who's not starting. So there's
so
not
we don't have
really
the
any
lines,
odds.
is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
So there's no odds.
We still
out.
have the games and the times, but we don't
Correct.
have the lines. Yeah.
So there's So that being the case, let me go ahead and share my screen here. You and Sam made some big moves. Sam is now 7 games behind me. I know we're going percentage wise, but he did pretty good, and you did even better. So great job to you guys. I had a terrible week, but it is what it is. So that being said, we'll go to the first game of the week. We have 2 Saturday games. So the Steelers at the Ravens. I do not have odds or favorites, so whatever you guys want, go for it. For week 18 to end the regular season.
The Ravens have like clinched everything, right? So,
Yeah, they're locked into the 1 seed. They don't have anything to play for.
and the Steelers won last week.
Yeah, so they clinched
they're-
a winning season already.
Right,
I mean, even
but
if
They're out of
they
the
win,
playoffs.
they're not out, but like they're only like 17% to make it, even if they win.
A lot of
So-
people got to lose for them to make it.
Exactly, they need a lot of help, but they still clinched that winning season. Tomlin does it again. I mean, God damn.
I'm gonna take the Steelers just in the sense that they're motivated and the Ravens are benching a lot of guys. I don't know, Steelers.
Yep.
I mean, as much as I think the Ravens are obviously the far superior team, yeah, I just if half the guys that are key contributors aren't going to play, or if they're only going to play diminished minutes, yeah, Steelers.
I gotta make some ground, so I'm gonna go Ravens. Just my last week. I really don't have a choice. I have to make everything opposite of Vince,
Last
whether
game
I
of the
like it
season,
or not.
Gotta
I
Can't
have
hold
to
anything
go
back
for it.
now.
So our next Saturday game is Texans at the Colts.
I'm
Both
taking
teams
the
I think have
Texans-
clinched.
Texans.
No, they haven't clinched
Oh, the
yet.
Colts haven't yet, but the Texans.
They didn't clinch yet.
No,
They're in
there's-
position.
Oh, they're in the bubble.
position. So I'm taking the Texans because they're the better team, I think, and they just look like the better team, overall to me.
I would agree. Jonathan can what's his last name? Why am I blanking? The running back on the Colts. Jonathan Taylor can really change the game for him, but yeah, I just think the Texans overall get the job done. Okay. He's really
Alrighty.
sticking to it. You're really going to pick the Titans, Tyler? Is that really what's going to happen?
You know
here?
what? I got a buddy in another league that's a big Titans fan, and maybe he's hitting me with some hopium of his own fan base. But I you know what? I'm liking it. I'm liking it, man. They needed to beat the Raiders. I know the Raiders aren't, top tier team, but hey, it's an NFL team. So any given Sunday. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Colts. All right. Next is this is probably the only one I won't pick up. So if you guys,
That's where I
Jaguars.
was getting to.
Jaguars at the Titans. Jags need to win, obviously, to save some seedings value at this point of the season.
I don't think they're quite locked into the playoffs either. But they're close, I think.
Yeah.
Man, this to me just has upset special all the way. I think the Jaguars should win, but I'm not going to be surprised if the Titans win. But I'm going to go with Jaguars.
Yeah, same. Jaguars. I'm going to pick the teams that I think should win, assuming everybody starts. I mean, obviously, I didn't with the Ravens and Steelers because we're just assuming the Ravens are going to let everybody ride the bench.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm taking the Lions here. They're still fighting for playoff positioning. I think they kind of want to end the season strong.
They'd like to get to the 2 seed.
Yeah, that's still on the table for them. So I think they really want to win.
Yeah, I'll go Lions as well. I just don't trust the Vikings' 4th quarterback, or their 3rd. And I know they're 3rd because he used to be a Niners quarterback.
The only reason I'm taking this game is because it's in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I know the Vikings are desperate for anything. Like they need a lot of people to lose, but they're in Detroit. So
yeah.
All right.
Saints, they're fighting for playoff position. Falcons just don't look like a good team. The Saints should win this game.
Derek Carr has been playing out of his mind quietly the last 4 weeks.
Yeah,
So I'm going with the Saints. Send in the car.
I think the PTSD of the Raiders is going to show up on Derek Carr's mind, and the Falcons get it done. Get it done. Get it done. I think the Falcons, if they win this game, they win their division, right?
No, it's the Buccaneers have the drivers that are in the driver's seat.
Is that locked?
It's not locked, but they're in the driver's seat. If the Buccaneers lose against the Panthers, however the hell you spelled Panthers there, bud.
Yeah. What do you see? Oh, yeah. You see this? You like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, woof.
There you go.
Okay. All right. But
yeah,
anyway.
actually, you know what? The Falcons, no matter what, if the Buccaneers lose, they own the tiebreaker. So it doesn't really matter at this point. That sucks. Falcons were number 1 and they blew it.
Well, that's because Arthur Smith is involved, and
not just blew their chance to make win the division, but they blew their playoff chances. That sucks. Jets at the Patriots.
The Battle
This
of
is
the
the
toilet
bowl.
bowl.
I,
Patriots because they're at home and they
Uh,
want to win one for old Bill.
I think it's going to be the Jets because the Jets defense can score. I'm giving you a gift, Tyler, and making this game live. Okay, for you.
I mean, it literally is a flip a coin at this point.
Yeah.
Bucks at the Panthers, now spelled correctly.
I gotta take the Buccaneers. I mean, they're trying to secure the division.
Mm-hmm. And if they win, they'll be above 500. So that'll be nice for the NFC South team being above 500.
For once.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
God. There's just no way that why am I not talking here? There's no way that a 2 and 14 team is gonna beat an playoff aspiration team. So I'm just gonna have to agree with you guys, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, also the Panthers don't even have their first overall pick because they traded it away to Chicago.
That's true.
Bums.
That's true. I think no, that was last year. Never mind. That was last year. Never mind. Okay. Browns at the Bengals. I can tell you this right now. So the Browns are 11-5. They have clinched the wild card, right?
Yep. They're pretty much locked into the 5, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
thought they
Bengals
could
have to
move up.
prey on like Jags, Colts, Texans, somebody losing there at this point. And the Broncos. There's a lot. Like, put it this way, Bengals are in
I
last
thought the Bengals
place.
are done. I thought the Bengals were actually done
Yeah.
after last week. I thought they were done.
I'm taking the Browns.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Browns as well. The surprisingly better team.
God, I just like Joe Flacco right now, which is really weird to say. I know he was an
You know
Eagle
what
for
though?
like
His
for like a hot
numbers are
minute.
weird though. He's been winning, but he turns the ball over a shit ton.
Yeah, he's been trash goating it a bit, man.
Yeah. you look at his turnovers. You do that in a playoff game, you're not advancing.
Yeah, I mean he gave up a pick 6 to the Jets. That's another
Yeah.
reason why they got 13 points in our
Yeah.
league.
Bears are obviously eliminated. Packers are in the hunt with Seattle, Buccaneers, and the Saints.
Yeah, if the Packers win, they're in. I believe they have the driver's seat on that 7 seed.
Yeah, I got to take the Packers. They should beat this team, but also Jordan Love. You know, he's got kind of like a tryout. You know, the Packers need to make a decision if they're going to go all in around this guy. So it's a kind of a must win for the Packers and the quarterback there.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Packers as well. The Bears have played admirably. You know, they played a lot better than I thought they would this year. But I think it's just it's too much.
Oh, you know what? I need this to happen. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. It's literally for the 1 seed at this point. I'm sorry, the division at this point.
Cowboys. I just don't think the Commanders are very good. I think
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna.
What are you
I'm
gonna
not
do,
gonna
Vince?
I'm not gonna throw away a point just to spite you. Give me the Cowboys.
Well, hold on. If we both get it wrong, you don't throw away a point.
Yeah.
So you gonna go with the boys?
Yeah, I'm going with the Cowboys.
All right.
I'm not like you're throwing away a point by picking the Commanders is what I'm saying.
Sure.
I'm not gonna also throw away another point.
But we were all gonna be Cowboys, so it's a double-edged sword here. I'm picking to try and get one up on you, and also save face for the winning the division.
Right.
I mean, can I get my pick
Go for it.
on the Broncos versus the Raiders?
Yeah, I got to take the Raiders. I think they're still motivated by the coach. I think a lot of the players that know they're going to be back next year, I think they want to play for this coach. And I think coach is playing for his job. GM is GMing for his job. So I think there's a lot going into this this game for the Raiders and the Broncos. It's kind of like the Derek Carr situation all over again, but in Denver.
It's Jared Stidham again too,
and
that's
it's
the
Jared
weird part.
Stidham. There's a lot going on in this game, but I think the Raiders will still be motivated and edge out the Broncos.
And the Broncos are still alive for the playoffs too, which is really
I
extra
mean,
weird.
they need a lot of teams
They-
to lose.
It'll be
Oh, yeah,
great
no.
to be the axe that got Staley fired. It would be great to be the axe that cut their playoff hopes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it would be great to be their nightmare right now.
Yeah, you know what? You talked me into it, Sam. Let's go Raiders. I'll make Tyler alive here.
Hey, you know what? All I'm picking is a team that is desperate to just try and get in, and they need like a lot of teams to lose because they're currently 8-8, and there's 4 teams that are currently 9-7, 5 teams that are 9. The Steelers are 9-7, but the Steelers aren't going to make it. But yeah, they need a lot of things to go their way. So Broncos are just winning out of desperation at this point. God, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be shocked if the Giants win.
Yeah, I'm picking the Eagles, but I kind of want the Giants to win just to hear about it on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go with the Eagles as well. I'm gonna dare you.
No, I
You're
would
not
never.
doing it.
I would never. I would never. Not in my wildest dream would I ever do that.
Yeah.
All right. Seahawks at the Cardinals. I think the Seahawks eliminated themselves last week, unfortunately, with that loss. 8-8.
They're
8-8. No, actually, they're still in it, but they're just like much other teams. They need a lot of teams to lose.
yeah, they need help. They're alive but need help. Sam, what do you got?
Seahawks, just they're a little bit better team. They're consistent.
I think the
Seahawks.
Cardinals are like the bad 49ers team where Jim Tom Sula was in charge, where they're stupid enough that they might actually pull off the upset and screw up their draft. But no, I'm going to pick the Seahawks.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. I'm going the same route. I mean, I hate both these teams, but this season I hate both these teams. But Cardinals, if they win this game, they're idiots. Like, hold on to your draft pick. I think they're currently the 4th overall pick and projected to get Marvin Harrison, is what I've read. So,
well, assuming that Chicago doesn't get him with the number 1 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, but Chicago may go with a quarterback.
They might go quarterback. They might decide, you know what, fuck it, we're keeping Justin Fields.
Yeah, they could.
And adding to his war chest and try to make him even better. We'll see. We'll see what they do. Yeah.
Next up, I already got you, Vince, here. Rams at 49ers. This is a big game for the Rams.
They're already clinched.
I know, but it's to move along pieces of actually no. There's nobody else they have to contend with. So
they
can't
they'll
move
either
up,
be the
really.
6 or the 7.
Yep.
They're pretty much locked in wherever they are. So I mean,
Yeah,
See-
if the 49ers don't start like Purdy and McCaffrey and keep them in for a long period of
McCaffrey's
time,
definitely out. He's like he got a calf tweak in the last game, so he's definitely not playing this week. No sense.
Tweak.
No sense in playing him. So
49ers, I guess. I'll just stick with the home team.
I mean, they're in Santa Clara, so I will go that same route. Rams really have nothing to lose, so they'll probably not play their starters too, to be honest with you. Puka's been kind of banged up, so he probably won't play, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'd say
if
49ers.
you're like just side note, if there's anybody out there that plays fantasy football and you have your championship happening in week 18,
Don't play
stop
Puka.
it.
Yeah,
Stop it right now.
Don't play anyone. Yeah, I think
Seriously.
Puka's out. Puka's out. I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams don't play their running back either to make sure he's fresh for the playoffs. Like, just doesn't make any sense. I would say that's probably going to be a toilet bowl with 2nd and 3rd stringers at this
Okay,
point.
we got to wrap this up, guys. Let's
Chiefs at the Chargers.
Chiefs. The Chargers stink.
yeah,
Are we
Chiefs.
unanimous on this? Okay. Unanimous, I mean.
All right, here we
Bills
are.
at the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
All right. I don't know why that font's so small. I'll fix it later.
Yeah, whatever. Dolphins, yeah.
Cool.
Um
Any changes? Anything, guys?
Nope.
No, we'll let it ride.
Boom. Stop share.
Okay. So, they announced the finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, we have them listed out, but you can look them up online. There's a lot of really uh awesome, amazing, all-time great players that are eligible that will not make it in because they only allow about 5 in. So, go ahead and look those up on your own if you're listening, but we'll find out who actually does get in on Super Bowl honors night, which is like the night before the Super Bowl. So
do you got any? Do you think there's any for you? Any surefire Hall of Famers on here?
Reggie Wayne.
Huh?
Reggie Wayne, probably.
I think Antonio Gates probably gets in. Yeah, I mean it's his first year of eligibility, and he was an absolute game changer for basically his entire career except the last year or two. So
Yeah.
I'm surprised Eric Allen has not made it in.
yeah, I'd love to see Patrick Willis get in. I think he's probably going to fall short this year,
right? It's his first year of eligibility.
Not Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis has been eligible for a couple years now.
Oh, okay.
It's just I don't know that he played long enough for some people, and so it's going to take a couple times to get in for Pat Willis.
Yeah. I think Antonio Gates gets in.
Yeah, I think Gates is our is the one that I have
Eric
circled.
Allen gets in.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, interesting list.
Yeah. And Dalvin Cook got cut. We'll see if he actually signs with anybody.
Yeah.
He provided basically nothing for the Jets. I don't know. I mean, the idea is he could sign with a playoff team, but I don't know if any playoff team really wants him.
Yeah. I think the Ravens is the one that's probably gonna make a call, but even then, that's a kind of a so. All right, moving on to basketball. We'll rally through these pretty quick because the Warriors suck.
They suck again. Oh no, they suck again. They were on a winning streak. They got above 500 and then they went right back under 500.
So they're only 2 games out from the play-in spot, right? So it's not terrible. You know, the West is pretty competitive, but I mean, come on.
I think it's time to start playing some rookies a little bit longer.
Free Moody. #, free Moody.
Yeah, I think we've officially hit that point where it's time for the younger guys to get a lot more run at this point. Yeah, Trace Jackson Davis looks phenomenal every time he's been out there. Podziemski's really impressed for the most part, and yeah, I just I need to see more of it. Andrew Wiggins might be on the trade block.
I heard that Toronto's calling, but in reality, what are you going to get from him? He's had one of the worst seasons he's ever had in his career. So what are you going to get? You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyways, they beat Boston overtime 132-126, which is probably the highlight of this whole entire thing here. They beat Washington in Poole's coming home game 129-118. They beat Portland 126-106. And then that's when they came into everything else here.
Christmas Day, they lose 120-114 at Denver. They lose versus Miami 114-102. And then they lose against Dallas 132-122. So right now you are 15 wins, 17 losses. That's currently 11th in the West.
They play against the Magic tonight, Thursday against the Nuggets, Friday versus the Pistons, Sunday versus the Raptors. And there is one more game on Wednesday, but we have a show by then, which is against the Pelicans, but that ends their homestand. So a lot of games in this homestand. So
yeah. I need like I said, it's time to start giving some of these younger guys some run because they've played well enough to earn it. And what do you know? Maybe they'll actually win some games when you do it too. You know,
I mean, even if they lose close games, that lets them build and let them understand how to close out games.
It's a long-term gain
Yep.
to let these guys play at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
agree,
I think the 3 seed is gone. I think the 4 seed is gone. Right now, you're just trying to get into the playoffs. So it's time to throw some shit on the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, I mean, do you agree, Sam?
Yeah, it's absolutely time. The guys, when you do see the young guys, they're outplaying the veterans. They're putting up better moments, bigger moments. They're competitive. As soon as they get off the floor, it just doesn't look like the same team. I thought it was really interesting. I think it was happening last week where Kaminga was kind of admitted certain things that mess with his head, where he was saying,
Yep.
I give up the ball for the OGs and do what I'm told, and I get benched, and I'm still like, what? Like, what's going on? And kind of causing confusion internally about his role. He's clearly, are there things that he needs to improve on? Absolutely. He's what, 21 years old, 20 years old or something crazy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely he's improving, but I think the upside of playing all of the young guys is a much greener road or a golden road that leads to potential success rather than keeping the course with Steph, Clay, Draymond, Looney, like that.
Draymond's gonna be back soon-ish, I
you
think,
know,
right? I
and
mean,
Yep.
honestly, I don't even think you put him in the starting lineup until he proves that he's going to be a quality teammate. I think they're all of a sudden Steve Kerr and this and that, they're kind of like, oh, the violence was a breaking point and blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. But you know what? This attitude has been going on for a number of years now. And I think there's some resentment happening with the younger guys, with the veteran guys. And, you won all these championships with these guys. But Draymond, when he was a young guy, he pushed David Lee out of the starting lineup, because you couldn't sit him. And it's the same with any young player coming up, where if these young players are better than the veteran players, then you go with the young players because it's about winning and it's about winning another championship, So to me, the only one who's a veteran that keeps his starting spot is Steph.
Yeah. Well,
Unfortunately,
we got about a month left for the trade deadline, so I'm sure Dunleavy is on the phones and just trying to fill things out and see what's going to happen. So
absolutely.
if something shakes up and you lose Klay Thompson or Draymond Green, hey man, that's just the way it's going to be,
Yeah,
man. They'll
it's
still
just
get a statue out front, but unfortunately, we got to get with the times. And right now, Curry's on borrowed time at this point.
absolutely.
So, moving on to the ice here. We do have the Sharks and also the Winter Classic broke out the new year for us. So that was cool too. But
yeah. Did you watch any of it? I watched
I
the
watched
first
some
two
of it.
periods.
Yeah, I
Hart
think it's a
performed in the
great
first
thing.
intermission. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
I think it's a great thing for hockey. I think that I don't know if it's going to bring in tons of viewership, but I think it's a fun
I
novelty
compare
thing.
it to the Thursday night Thanksgiving night game. It's not the Cowboys or the Lions, but it's somebody else, playing
Yeah.
that night game. And it's just kind of a nice spectacle, and everybody gets the drumstick at the end for Thanksgiving. It's quite a show that they put on. They dusted off Hart, and Anna and Nancy Wilson were out there singing in the first intermission, and that was a lot of fun.
When the Kraken came walking into the stadium. So if you don't know, Sam, the Winter Classic, they play at baseball stadiums.
Or football stadiums.
Or football
Yeah.
stadiums,
Yeah,
right?
it's outdoor. They played at Lake Tahoe a couple years ago, which was bullshit that the Sharks didn't get the Lake Tahoe game.
Yeah, it was like the Knights and the
Yeah,
Kings,
I
I think it was, something like
yeah.
that.
It should have
Yeah.
been the Knights and the Sharks.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. So what was interesting about this one, or I thought was funny, was when the Seattle team comes walking into the stadium, they had like two rows of people, and they were like, because it's in Seattle, they were throwing fish while like
the Seattle market.
Yeah, while the players were walking through, like in between the players, they were throwing fish through them. So I thought it was fun, a little novelty thing over there. But Seattle ends up getting that win 3-1, which is great. Anytime Vegas loses, I love it. So shout out to them. The Sharks, though, man, they have had a rough stretch of games here.
8 in a row, they've taken L's.
Rough.
So nobody won win of the week.
Yep.
And that's why we're not keeping track of the losses, because there was going to be times when this happened. We said it when we started doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Colorado, Edmonton, the Kings, Vancouver, Arizona, the Kings again. That I mean, in the last 2 weeks, they've taken a lot of losses. Is this 15th in the West, right? No, they're actually 16th again. They've fallen behind the Blackhawks for 16th in the.
Damn it, Bedard getting that overtime winner.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so they still don't have double-digit wins on the season yet. They're only at 9 wins. They got 25 losses and 3 overtime losses. So,
well, our upcoming schedule is versus Detroit, which is middle but top middle. I guess is the best way of saying that.
No, I'm looking at the standings right now. They're
middle. I'm sorry.
They're 3 points out of a playoff spot right now.
They're lower echelon. Winnipeg is tops. Toronto is top middle.
Yeah, Toronto is the is in a playoff spot. The Jets are securely in a playoff spot right now. So my win of the week choice is going to be the Red Wings.
That's what I'm going with.
That's kind of where I'm thinking as well.
They're going to win all 3.
Is that what you're going with?
I mean, it doesn't count against me. I get all of them.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Okay.
I broke the code. They're going to go undefeated from here on out.
You're only going to get the points if they do go undefeated now, though. Just know that.
New rule.
We're on the fly. We're just making this up. There are no rules.
No, Detroit.
Oh, just Detroit?
I talked him out of it.
No,
adding stipulations.
I was being.
All right. I'm going from the ice to the pitch at this point, unless you guys had something else on the Sharks.
No, go for it.
There was a lot of games. I said like 2 or 3 games in our winter break special. There was quite a bit more than just that. So,
well, no, we were off for 2 weeks, so
that's true.
It makes sense, yeah.
So they get the win against Newport County, 2-0. Then they go and play against Swindon Town. They win that 1-0. Then they lose to Walsall on Saturday. 4-1. No, 3-1. And then they beat Barrow yesterday, 4-1. Next up, I don't think I have this right. It's not against Newport. It's not against Swindon Town.
No.
But anyways, I'll tell you the next.
Idiot.
This guy who did the doc, me. But I did update their standing, so they're 14-7-4, third place, 49 points, 2 points away from Stockport in first. So you get a win, Stockport loses. Hi ho, we're looking at first place. So
yeah, and of course, top 3 automatically move on to League One, to EFL 1, and then seeds 4 through 7 go into a playoff. So Wrexham's looking real good to move on to League One right now. They just got to keep the pace, and I think next year in League One, that's where we're going to finally see them kind of level out, because I think that's where their skill really lies. Is they're about a mid-tier League One team is where I see them.
I think it's coming up right pretty soon. There's another trade deadline. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank at the name.
Oh no, it's a window. Basically,
Trade window,
they open
yes.
up.
Isn't it it's a on loan window where you can get players on loan or something like that?
You can
do
that.
both.
It's a transfer window, basically. It's a
So they could do loans, or they could outright purchase a player if it just depends. It really depends. It's up to the team's discretion if they want to loan a player or outright sell the player. So
yeah, and there's no like salary cap or anything like that. It's whatever the owners feel like they can and are willing to pay for. Yep. And they've been unafraid to spend some bucks to this point. They're because they have the documentary, and they got some like big time sponsors like United on the front of the kit. They have plenty of money coming in right now, and if they make a move to bring somebody else in to kind of put them over the top, that wouldn't totally surprise me. But also, they're playing well enough. They may just want to stay pat and try to save some money for next year, because they still need to work on improvements. They gotta finish building the cop, and they gotta finish they got to really build up the
brand.
the training grounds and everything else. So I mean,
Mhm.
there's plenty of money that they need to spend on other things to help improve the club outside of the roster. So
Well, that really depends on the MK Dons was their next game, but has been postponed. So technically, the next game. So what you're saying was saving money. It really depends on how far they get in some of these tourneys too. So the FA Cup is their next game. They're in the third round. They're playing against Shrewsbury. If they get far enough in that cup, that's some good chunk change that they could use towards acquiring talent going forward for the next year. So I think there's a lot of pressure to not only promote themselves, but to get as far as they can the FA Cup to get some money.
right, and getting up to League One, that's still fine. That's like their finances are still fine. It gets a little dicey in the championship because there are teams that spend like crazy to get into the championship. And then if they fail, that's like when they're basically running a deficit. And so you don't want to do that. They're not in any danger of hitting that level right now.
Yeah. I think next year you're probably going to see some younger kids that are probably good talents on
Yeah.
premier teams that they're just loaning out type of deals.
Most of the talent on this roster right now, at least half of them will be gone, assuming they get to League One. And then if they somehow make it to the championship level, you're looking at maybe Paul Mullen, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
like I mean, most of the guys on this team, they are well suited for third tier, and they're going to run into trouble talent wise if they get any higher. And I think they're going to be in the third tier for a while. So, we'll see how it goes.
Should be fun. We got another
a lot of fun.
When I think we're down to 3 months in like 2 weeks, I think, or something like. So we'll call it 3.5. 3.5
January. Yeah, it's basically beginning of May. Early May is when the season wraps up.
Yeah.
We got 4 months is what we got.
There's some games that have been postponed. So MK Dons got postponed. Another game got postponed. So it might go a little extra depending on how the schedule works out. But they're pretty strict on ending it on the dot on the last game. So games will be filled in between there.
Yeah. So I guess the only thing left to talk about, we didn't really talk about Ohtani, did we? We didn't get the chance.
We talked about it last time.
Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
Okay, no, we did. You're right. But the one note we didn't get to talk about was him getting his jersey number from Joe Kelly by buying Joe Kelly's wife a fucking Lamborghini.
No, he bought her a Porsche, man. He bought her a brand new Porsche. But she did a great job of marketing and TikToking about getting rid of her husband's number to Ohtani. And Ohtani caught wind of it through various social media outlets and decided to gift her a Porsche. So,
well, he can afford it.
Yeah.
He's got just
got
endorsements alone.
400 million kicking in 10 years. My retirement package is good.
He makes like 15 million a month from Japan alone, so he'll be fine. He'll be all right.
Yeah, the 2 million per year for the first 10 is not. He's not going to be hurting. Our boy's going to be just fine. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, unless you guys have anything else for the docket, go Washington. By the way, the last Pac-12 team in the college football championships, baby, to go against Michigan.
Yeah, and they're going to be in the same conference next year because Washington is going to join the Big Ten.
Yeah, sure.
So they'll be conference rivals next year, but this year they're rivals for the national title. So yeah, go Huskies, I guess. I don't really give a damn. I don't.
Hey, you know what? You know why I give a damn? Because Alabama lost to Michigan, and
that's what I really care about. Is no SEC team. That's what I really care about. Fuck the SEC.
You don't want to roll Tide roll?
No, hell no,
sir. That $1 million band can march out.
Not even if there's a fire.
All right, that's all I had for the show. So that was me, guys.
Yeah, that's
all right, guys. Well, great show. Thank you guys. For those out there streaming us on YouTube, thank you again so much for joining us. You're listening to the SVT Sports Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the notification bell to get alerts so you know that we're going live. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at SVT Sports Pod. Slide into our DMs. We would love to interact with you. Thank you, guys.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.